How to increase traffic to your website. Today I will teach you 27 techniques how you can increase website traffic. And I will show you other interesting publications that were published in the last week. Who don't know me, my name is Anatoly Ulitovsky. I am from SEOtools.tv. Hey guys! Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'll start from Brian Dean article and he highlights 27 techniques how he increases traffic to his own website. And his first technique is guest posting. It's interesting technique because I remember one time I read other article from Tim Sowell, and he highlighted in his article that it's difficult to increase website traffic to use guest posting because the strategy usually uses for links only with this purpose. But Brian Dean in his article highlighted how he can increase traffic by using this technique. And what he usually does it that he adds some link resources to his guest post articles, and people can click to these link resources and go to his website. Other technique, he usually writes interesting bio, and it helps to get real traffic, to his website. The second technique, upgrade all blog posts. It depends on the website, of course, but you need to do it to check that your blog post provide value to your readers. And what you need to do to check it, just read again them and find perhaps some information is outdated and you need to change something. For example, I know Neil Patel usually pays money to some other SEO specialists who can check his blog posts, and he can check Google Analytics to where you can find some information about user behavior, and if you see that user behaviors decrease, that means that you need to rewrite all blog posts. And it depends, of course, of website. For example, HubSpot deleted 3,000 blog posts because this resource didn't have resources or time or perhaps vision to rewrite all these blog posts, and you can do it the same. For example, you can rewrite, you can edit some information or slightly add other interesting information, or even delete them. But if you want to delete them, just check perhaps your blog posts have some external backlinks. You can set up 301 redirect to other your articles, and in that way you will not lose external backlinks and their weight. Okay, we'll go ahead, and it's interesting article, by the way, you can read this. And third technique about use click to tweet links. Yeah, I like this point, but it depends on you. You can use this plugin on WordPress, and for example, if somebody wants to add some interesting quotes to his Twitter account, with this article you can do it just to use one click. Or for example, you can add some buttons like you can see on Brian Dean posts. In many websites I saw that uses a lot of different social networks, but what we can see here, Brian Dean uses only Twitter and Facebook. For marketing purpose you can use LinkedIn as well, but of course it depends on your audience. And before setting any different social network buttons, just check where is your audience. And go ahead. Tip number 4, optimize your content with LCI keywords. It's interesting because Google informed us that their there is not this definition of LCI keywords that SEO specialist created this definition, but it's not true. I want to tell you what is it. When you write any keywords on Google, you can see on the bottom of the page some other keywords. If you didn't find some interesting information, you can click to these keywords, to get other results. And Brian Dean usually adds these LCI keywords to his content, and it helps Google, to understand better this content and perhaps to rank with different any keywords. Yep, and what we can see here. You can find LCI keywords and phrases like Facebook page, Twitter, LinkedIn, viral content, Pinterest. Yeah, it depends. For example, if you write about social networks. And tip number 5, get more traffic from your blog posts with content transformation. Interesting that you can, it's interesting technique that I could squeeze even more value out of this content, so I turned that post into a YouTube video. This technique, if you know this guy, his name is Gary Vee, and he uses a lot this technique when he converts one type of content to another type, from text to video or to audio format. You can do it as well if you write a great post. Why you can't create a great video or even audio podcast and share with audience? Because people prefer different formats, and for example, I like to listen to audio podcasts, other people like to watch videos, who likes to read. It depends on our preferences, and you can convert to different suitable formats to your audience. Tip number 6, go on podcasts. Yep, it's interesting because 26% of Americans regularly listen to podcasts. Yeah, it means it works, and that Brian Dean takes part in different podcasts, and you can do it as well, because in that point you can increase your brand awareness, and to get links from this podcast, from these shows. Yeah, it works definitely. And tip number 7, promote your site with blogger outreach. Yeah, you can use, I think it's like some blogger outreach. Yep. I know that Brian Dean uses a lot of different techniques, skyscraper technique outreach, and right now he uses blogger outreach. And what we can see here, he highlighted this process. I send a personalized email to a blogger that already shared content on my topic. Okay, what you can do here, you need to use BuzzSumo or any other social media tools where you can check bloggers who share the same content and ask their opinion and use outreach. And what we can see that Brian Dean usually does it. Yeah, it works. And tip number 8, the content relaunch strategy. It means that you can relaunch any different type of content,
Not bad.
Nobody knows what works, what not. It depends, of course, and you need to find this, to use different strategy, to different techniques. And what we can see here, that Brian Dean share his content on social media and sent out an announcement to newsletter subscribers and stuff like this. That means when you create a new interesting article or different type of content, you can share with different audiences, like to use your email subscribers, push notifications, and even to set up paid ads on Facebook or any other different platforms. Tip number 9, create content that appeals to influencers. It's difficult, because I think that influencers know about high quality content, and even if you create high quality content, sometimes they know some stuff from your content. It means that you need to create some unique interesting information, and I know that Brian Dean publishes one article per month, and it depends, it means that he spends a lot of time to find some interesting information, to combine them. It creates something unique. Yep, and tip number 10, share videos on LinkedIn. Yep, why not? Because users on social media networks, they like to watch videos, and it shows in 6 times more engagement than just generic publications. And what we can see that Brian Dean takes his videos and republish them on LinkedIn, and it helps, it gets some results. Just it's important, don't publish the same video on YouTube, LinkedIn or Facebook, because users on YouTube, they prefer to watch long videos, and because people go to YouTube just to watch videos, but users on LinkedIn and Facebook, they have another purpose, to visit these platforms, and if they see videos, they prefer to watch short version of videos, and you have a long video and cut to many different parts, this video, and it definitely works. Tip number 11, host giveaway contest. Yeah, people love free stuff. Of course, who doesn't like free stuff. And what usually we can see here, here's an example of content my friend Noah Kogan recently put together. If you have some timeline, deadline, and it's old technique, but it works a lot, especially in pay-per-click, when you can show some limited offer or limited deadline. Yep, and people know that it's better to take it, and it improves sales. Yeah. Tip number 12, add share triggers to your content. Yeah, I think Brian Dean explains about some share triggers. You can find many different triggers on for WordPress plugin. Tip number 13, retarget visitors with Facebook ads. I think it's important, to add Facebook Pixel and Google Pixel and to retarget them, because visitors on your website, they need to meet your brand 7 times before they decide to buy. And sometimes people can open and don't buy it, but if you retarget more, you can increase your sales plus 70%. It definitely works, and you need to do it. And it means that Facebook and Google Ads, I think all these platforms are the biggest, and it's important to set up pixels from Facebook and Google. Tip number 14, reduce your bounce rate. Yeah, it's interesting because you can check your bounce rate on by using Google Analytics, and you can take this data and analyze what type of bounce rate you have. But you need to understand that it depends on your pages. For example, informational pages like blog posts, they have more bounce rate, like from 60 to 90%, but for commercial pages it's around 30%. Yeah, you need to consider this fact. And Brian Dean spends time to check it, and it's good technique. Tip number 15, publish long form content. Yeah, I think Brian Dean is a master here, to publish long form content, to share a lot of information in one publication. And the reason why he usually does it, because long content ranks better than shorter version. And for example, John Mueller told that Google doesn't have system to count words on your content, but many studies, even Brian Dean made the study that long content ranks better, and it's around 1890 words, in the on the top 10. It means the average parameter of long content it's around 2000 words. And tip number 16, optimize for Google's mobile first index. I think when Google informed first time about mobile first index, many website owners thought that they need to change a lot, but if you have adaptive design, responsive design on your website, I think you don't need to worry a lot. Just check mobile version and analyze or fix some errors if you have there, because more than 60% of users, they use mobile version. And tip number 17, create an active YouTube channel. The reason why I record this video, because it works, it helps to sell my products, it helps branding, and in 2022, according to Statista, people will watch more videos, and videos will take 82% of all traffic. It's big number, and of course you need to have some YouTube channel. And okay, we'll go ahead. Tip number 18, publish viral content. It's difficult to create viral content. I think it's not simple to find what will be viral. For me, it's better to create high quality and valuable content, and if you can touch people's mind and make it viral, it will be great. It will be great, of course. What we can see here, tip number 19, promote blog posts and videos on Quora. It's interesting. Quora is a that simple way to get people to promote your content on social media. All you need to do is submit your best content, and they'll ask influencers to share it on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and more. I recently promoted one of my posts on Quora and got a handful of shares for influencer people in the digital marketing space. Interesting. Yep. I think I can try this technique. Tip number 20, republish all articles in LinkedIn. I think you need to use not only LinkedIn and even Medium, and you can set up their canonical tag to your page, and Google will rank your page, because canonical tag shows the main page, what Google needs to rank. And why not, you can add all your content articles to LinkedIn Pulse and get results there. Why not? Tip number 21, use a question analyzer to create insanely useful content. I think many different type of question analyzer on Ahrefs, on SEMrush, and Answer the Public, but Brandin shows us BuzzSumo question analyzer or Answer the Public to find questions that people ask. You can answer these questions on your content. It definitely works. Tip number 22, add enticing content to social media posts. It means that in social media you don't need to have unique content, and you don't need to add all your content. Just highlight what will be interesting for social media audience, and add this content. And if you use some pictures or infographics, it will be great. It works. We'll go ahead, and the next article, the next tip 23, improve your organic click-through rate. I think, of course, it's important. You can improve your title or description, or even to add schema markup and use different techniques. For example, for title, you can add numbers, brackets, different symbols, some interesting words. And just find some interesting words that will touch your audience, your users. And tip number 24, publish more list posts. Yeah, because when you have list posts, you can save time to your readers. They don't need to filter Google content because they have some roundup and some list posts. Yeah, just take your ranking. Yeah, it definitely works. Okay, tip number 25. Steal your competitors' traffic sources. Yeah, you can use SimilarWeb in that point to check where your competitors get traffic, and yeah, you can use the same techniques. Yeah, it helps, and I see that Brian Dean highlighted SimilarWeb as well. Okay, tip number 26: derive traffic to your website from forums. I think that, yeah, of course you need to work on forums, but don't take all forums in your niche. Just choose the best forums, 1, 2 or 3 forums. You don't need to have a lot of forums. It's better to pay attention there, like Quora, Reddit, or some niche related forums, and yeah, to be active there, and you need to help people. Forget about links, because many users register to forums and try to insert links to their websites. But if you help people, and when you have it's enough, when people see who help them, and they will consider in future to recommend you or another different stuff, or even to buy your products. Why not? And 27, syndicate your content on Medium. Yeah, like I told you, you need to use Medium as well, like LinkedIn, and syndicate content there. You don't need to create unique content, just to set up canonical tag. Yep. And I think Brian Dean has some bonus strategy, like usual, post on social media at strategic times. Yeah, I like the strategy. For example, on Twitter, I usually create a lot of publications, and I register my account in May, but I started to work on my Twitter like 1 week ago, and right now I have 100 users who open my Twitter account. And what you need to do to schedule some interesting publications on Twitter or any other social media networks, and for this purpose you can use some different tools, many tools on internet. And yep, and Brian Dean shows which time is better to publish content, but I think it depends on your audience, and you can use some data from Brian Dean or find other data. Yep. And bonus strategy 2: find more keywords with keywords everywhere. It's interesting. It's like other tool. Yep, keywords everywhere. It's tool, and you can use some Google recommendations, this tool, and yeah, it's your turn. Thanks, Brian. It's awesome article, and we go ahead. Yep. The next article, what I want to share with you: how to bring your B2B content marketing back from the dead. What's the main problem with content marketing? That I don't remember exactly the number, but it's like 88% of websites, businesses use content marketing. It means it's a lot. And for example, Neil Patel highlighted many times that on the internet we have 1 billion blogs, and a lot of publications each minute on WordPress. I don't remember this number, but a lot. And yeah, it's competitive. It's extremely competitive. And if you want to win in this competitive field, that you need to consider what your competitors usually do it, and provide something, some other stuff. And what I like in this article, that the author of this article, Katrina, yep, and she highlighted 6 ways to breathe new life into your content.
It's moving. It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
And first way, know your audience. Of course, you need to learn your audience before providing anything, before writing or creating content to them. Because if you don't know your audience, how you can create content which audience will like? Because you can't create content for everybody. People are different, some people prefer one blogs, other people other blogs, but you need to find your own audience, and you can use Google Analytics. If you have existing audience, if you don't have it, then just find some interesting studies on internet and create your reader's persona. Second way, distribute and track. When producing any piece of content, here are 3 questions that must be thought for. Why is it being produced? Where is it being distributed? How is it going to be tracked? Of course, you need to learn your competitors, your metrics, and analyze what you can change in the second time, or even to edit existing content. And always analyze results, because nobody knows what works or not. But if you analyze, and you can make some conclusions what you need to change in your strategy. Way number 3, match the right content to the right people. Generational differences can be found in content preferences. Younger consumers prefer video and social content, for instance, whereas older generation are more comfortable with email. Of course, you need to find some distribution channels, and and use for your audience. Way number 4, find your niche. Even if you have some topics, for example, like weight loss, and it's extremely competitive, big companies, billion-dollar cost companies in that field, and if you want to compare with them, don't try to create some generic topics like weight loss supplements, weight loss pills, or other stuff. Just find your own way, find where your competitors are not active, and because 15% of new keywords appeal each single day, it means that you have some job there. You can find some interesting way where you can provide or create your content. Way number 5, experiment and innovate. Most of the advice we've given so far has been about carefully planning content. Of course, you need to have some content plan, and you need to consider your existing resources. Do you have money to hire some remote specialists, or do you have time to create all this content? For example, I want to write 50 articles per month, but I don't have resources, and it means, if Brian Dean can create 1 article, I think he wants to create 2 articles, but he doesn't have these resources. He needs to pay all attention to create just 1 super article. You need to consider this technique, and before creating anything, you need to analyze, do you have resources to create this article? And way number 6, say something different. I like this point even more, because you don't need to rewrite other points. If you check your competitors, you need to find their weak side, and you have your strong side. You have trends, you have some knowledge, and you need to create with different angle, and to provide some new information. If you don't provide new information, nobody will link you, nobody will read this article, because there are a lot of other articles about that point. And we'll go to tip number and we have here conclusion, and we'll go to another article. The next article from Moz, and this article about Google review stars, and according to Moz, we know that Google announced that they will be restricted review stars in SERPs to specific schemas, and will stop displaying reviews that they seem to be self-serving. If you have some ranking system on your website, Google might ignore your ranking and don't list on their search. And for example, you don't need to delete your ranking system if it helps your existing users to analyze your products. But Google will not show this ranking, this stars on their search. And what we can see here that for one day Google dropped by 14%. And what we can see that the most dropped was in finance industry, 46%, and real estate 46% as well. Yeah, you can read this article, it's interesting. Yeah, there are many different data and some question and answers. And we go ahead, the next article from Schedule Blog, 30 marketing mistakes, myths and misconceptions to avoid. Yep, I like this topic because I work in SEO field more than 10 years, and during this time many times SEO methods changed, and today you need to pay attention only to use white hat techniques. But even if you provide white hat techniques, it doesn't mean you will get traffic. It means that you need to be better than your competitors. But what I like in this article, you don't need to provide what doesn't work today. And the first point in this article, SEO is dead. SEO is not dead because SEO gives more traffic than paid search, than pay-per-click, and according to Search Engine Land, it's 11 times more according to Moz. I don't remember exactly the numbers. It's like from 3 to 6 times more traffic from organic traffic. And of course today it's difficult to compete with big websites who have experience, a lot of backlinks. But if you provide some interesting unique stuff, and if you use white hat techniques, you just need to wait, and you definitely will give results. And myth number 2, you need a huge budget to run an effective marketing campaign. Of course with budget it's more simple, to provide some interesting marketing campaigns, effective campaigns you can analyze. But if you don't have this budget, just you need to analyze what you can provide with your resources. For example, content marketing for long tail keywords or another parts. But everything of course depends on your budget. And if you don't have budget but you have own time, just check your competitors and think how you can provide something better than your competitors. Tip number 3, you shouldn't run a campaign until you've chosen the right tools. Some bloggers, website owners don't use any tools and they get traffic. Of course it depends. For me, I think it's better to use tools. If you use tools, you can get better results than without tools, because you can analyze, find some quick way to provide some content marketing or your marketing strategy. But if you don't have money to buy some professional tools, you can use Ubersuggest from Neilpatel. It's free. Many other tools like Answer the Public. Just find other free tools. Myth number 4, marketing isn't measurable. You can use Google Analytics, or Google Search Console, or SEMrush, Ahrefs, Moz. There are a bunch of metrics. You can measure your marketing campaigns and get results. Myth number 5, always be testing. I don't think it's a myth. You need to test, you need to test a lot, because we don't know what works, nobody knows it. And I need to read this one. I'm going to get some pushback for calling this popular expression a mistake. But although testing is important, you have to have sufficient traffic coming to your site for your tests, to mean anything. Provide A/B testing, analyze, and think how you can improve it, by testing. Myth number 6, everything on your website should be tested. It depends on your time. If you have this time, of course it's better to test everything, but if you don't have this time, prioritize, choose where you sell your products, which type of pages you need to change, and just go ahead. I think it's better to test your prioritization at first. Myth number 7, social media doesn't drive revenue. People have different mindset on social media, and people don't want to buy products by using social media. But you need to think about that point more broadly, because we have sales funnel, and you can touch their mindset to make brand awareness or any other types of sales funnel. Don't try to sell them directly, just to tell about your products or provide them some interesting other stuff like webinars, different type of content that will bring value to them. And I agree, you need to change this mindset, and or even to make create brand awareness that will help you in future. Myth number 8, mobile users don't make purchases. I think, they make purchases, but of course it's more simple to do it by using desktop version, and but people can buy on mobile devices as well. And almost 40% of all e-commerce purchases during the 2018 holiday season were made on a smartphone. Oh, look here, 40%. Yeah, it's big number. Myth number 9, a single negative review could tank your company. Thanks in part to Amazon's fake review problem, 68% of customers trust reviews more what they see a mix of good and bad reviews. One time I read interesting study that people might buy products from companies that have reviews from 3.5 to 4.5. It means that if you have only 5 stars, people might think, oh, it's fake reviews. They won't believe in these reviews. Of course, it's better to have different type of reviews, and if you have some negative reviews, just work with these people to ask them. And I know that 30% of users who left bad review can change because you can speak to them, ask what was wrong, and try to solve this problem. Myth number 10, if you build, they will come. Of course not. You don't need to, for example, if you create content, even the best content of the world, and if people don't know about your content, Google will not know about this content. You need to promote by using social media, using link building, any other different techniques, because it helps to promote your content. And without promotion, I think during the time, it will be outdated. Myth number 11, content marketing is too crowded for your company to compete. I think everything is crowded, but you can find some niches even in your specific topic, and just it's better to analyze your competitors, and they don't provide all content. They don't rewrite all outdated content. You need to consider that and find some interesting topics where you can provide some other type of content that will help people. And myth number 12, copying your competitors is a good way to reverse engineer your digital marketing campaigns. Never copy. Create your own product, and if you don't have your own product, I don't think that you will have any future, because customers might see your competitors' products, they know their products, why they need to buy from your site. And myth number 13, outsourcing digital marketing means you don't have to worry about it. I think it's better to control, even if you outsource some type of job, delegate tasks to remote specialists, but it's better, to analyze results, and you can set up some different settings, I don't know, to check them. Yeah, good article. I definitely recommend to read this article. And the next article, Skyscanner overhauls brand in shift to more emotional marketing. I like that point, because 75% of our decisions are made because of our emotions, and only 25% of logic. And what we can see here, that Skyscanner has a huge audience, like 100 million users, and they decided to make more emotional marketing, because people want to feel that they touch these products, they understand this product, and for example, when you provide any marketing campaigns, it's better to show people how they use these products, how these products solve their problems. Don't highlight only special features, because special features don't help to sell like emotions. And yeah, it's interesting article, you can read this article. I like this one. And we go ahead, the next article, fueling your sales funnel with content marketing. Yeah, what I like in this article, that we have here 6 stages of sales funnel for B2B marketing, because some resources highlight 5 stages for B2C marketing, but we have here 6 stages. And the first stage, awareness. Yeah, that's simple. You need to make to create brand awareness. It helps, especially if you use social media marketing. The second one, interest. Of course, if your customers know about your existing, the next step, you can highlight how your products can solve their problems, and yeah, after this, people will be interested about your product. Stage number 3, consideration, when customers compare your products and consider to buy your products. Yep, it's a common stage. Stage number 4, intent. In that stage, they definitely think to buy your product, and you need to work, to push your products more strongly than usual, and to tell about your special features, how these products might help them to decide their problems. Stage number 5, evolution. And yeah, it's interesting, because you need, for example, even if you sell your products, you need to cooperate more time with your customers, to help them, to explain how you perhaps you can sell again your products. Even if you provide pay-per-click, you need to consider that the level of online competition is so high, and it means that you need to sell a long period of time to one customer, and only in that way you can get back your ROI. And stage number 6, remarketing. Of course, yeah, I think you can use remarketing on Facebook, on Google, because it helps to return visitors to your website. It helps to propose some interesting proposals to your customers, for example, to give them discounts or any other points why they need to be to go back. Or for example, people sometimes don't have time, to open your website, they can forget quickly, but in that point you can help them. The next article from saleshacker.com, and in this article the author of this article, but I don't see who is the author, explain how Moz grew to 700 million revenue. It's interesting, because when I tweeted this article, Rand Fishkin told me that data from this article is inaccurate, and especially what type of data about the history of Moz organic search traffic, especially from since 2012. And the author of this article just used SEMrush data to highlight what type of traffic Moz had in that time. And I definitely recommend you to read this article, because Rand Fishkin used many different techniques, even to sell his own products for $1, not for $70, but he made limited proposals to sell this product, and we see here some examples and some emails what he sent to his customers. Yeah, it's interesting article. The next article from WordStream, 7 surprisingly effective pop-up advertising strategies. Okay, I think everybody hates pop-ups like me. I don't like to use pop-ups, and I think you can set up pop-ups if you know your audience, if you know that these pop-ups will not bother them. And for example, if you don't have strong and big audience, it's better to avoid pop-up windows, because you can lose this audience. And in this article, WordStream explained how you can use it, hide the form on your landing page. For example, if you open any website, you can see some pop-up windows, and you need to hide this form. Interesting. We see some examples here. For example, from this example, I see that you need to click only one button, and after this you will get some form. And it helps. For example, if you have a lot of fields in first window, people might ignore this pop-up because they are lazy to fill all these fields. But if you hide them, just use only one button, you can hook them, and when you hook your users, they don't have another choice, just like to fill all the fields. And the second point, give a first-time buyer discount. Of course, if you have some limited deadline or limited proposals, it definitely helps to sell your products. Offer a content upgrade, ebook, or exclusive content. Sometimes you need to give for free, and when you propose some ebook or exclusive content, you can get new subscribers, and in future they will buy your products. Why not some percent of them? And tip number 4, advertise a free demo. If people don't know your product and it's difficult to tell them buy, it helps you. But if you propose some demo version or limited version, they can analyze and decide, it definitely helps, I need to buy this product. Tip number 5, remind visitors of a limited time offer. A few times I talked about that point. Tip number 6, send them to a relevant email gated landing page. If you set up your email marketing campaign, you can use this tip to send them to targeted page, not the main page or other pages on your website. And tip number 7, combat shopping cart abandonment. I think a lot of people, customers, they don't have time to fill all your cart, and it means you can bring them back. Why not? You can use some pop-up windows. Thank you, WordStream, and we go ahead. It's interesting. we get some pop-up window here. Okay, the next article, these are the 35 best SEO blogs according to 127 readers. Yeah, I like the list because, you know, I usually read all SEO blogs, not all of course, I don't have time to read all of them, but I scan many blog posts, I add all of them to my Feedly account, and after and there I can check what I like more. And yeah, first place is Backlinko, the second Ahrefs, yeah, because Ahrefs publish professional articles, interesting articles. Third place Moz, Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Land, Search Engine Roundtable, SEMrush, Neil Patel. Yeah, many interesting blogs, and we have some reviews from these blogs. Yeah, you can open this website, it's interesting. Okay, we go ahead, and the next article, 9 ways we're changing habits so we can make more inclusive marketing at Google. Interesting. Think with Google. Yeah, you can read this article. Ensure everyone feels responsible. I think it's more about your teamwork. You know, how your team can cooperate together. Partner with agencies who care. Of course, you know, if your agency wants to earn money from your site, and but you know, it's better to have long cooperation when they want to sell your products to help you. And yep, and after this, when you can combine this, your earning money with to pay for their service. Tip number 3: use real people in our work. Interesting. You don't need to use bots. For example, yeah, you can give some outsource resource, some work to outsource. Tip number 4: think about all aspects of casting. Tip number 5: approach creative and media holistically. Partner with others to measure progress. Look beyond your bubble. Make inclusion a daily habit for the team. Yeah, and don't forget the heart. You can read this article, interesting. And we go ahead, this article from Search Engine Journal. What does it mean to do SEO? Some basic information for, I think, for beginners. Yeah, you can read this article. I don't remember why I opened this article. Perhaps I found some interesting there, but right now I don't see this. Okay, the next article, your 5-step guide to achieving greater influence and impact. Take inspiration from others. Interesting. I think that you need to connect with people by using social media like Twitter, and take inspiration from others. Just find why other can help you, and yep, and you can highlight these points. Love what you do. I think if without passion you can't go ahead. You need to love your job. On Monday morning you need to think, oh, it's new week, I want to go to my job to produce new results. Yep, it's important. Try something new. Of course, you know, you need to find some new stuff, new points, unique propositions. Yeah, it definitely helps, you know, to go ahead. Learn how to do stuff, and focus on growth, creativity, and stakeholder engagement. Okay, interesting article. Go ahead. 5 ways to collaborate with Instagram nano influencers. Oh, interesting, because I know that a lot of brands use Instagram, especially to cooperate with influencers. And tip number 5: send your products for the review. If you have some influencer, you can send them products or access to your service and ask their opinion. Perhaps they can share these products if it's helpful for them. Tip number 5: invite the person to become a brand ambassador. Oh, I think it costs money, but you know, you don't need to pay Kim Kardashian or Cristiano Ronaldo crazy money. Just find some influencers from 10,000 to 100 1,000 influencer followers, and you can cooperate with them. Yep. We go ahead, share coupons and discounts. Yep. If you can propose some coupons and discounts for subscribers, influencers, why not? You can reach them. Become a giveaway sponsor. Yeah, that's normal. And generate user-generated content. Yep. Okay, and the last article, roundup post tips and ideas for non-standard marketing activities. Acquire backlinks thanks to Hero. Yeah, you definitely need to try this resource because you can, you can achieve some journalists there. It's a famous resource. Use linked retargeting to reach Facebook group members. You need to find some Facebook groups where some in your industry where you can have discussions with other members. Yeah, why not? You can achieve them. Use SMS to generate new sales. I hate to get marketing SMS, but it works. What we can see, we see some metrics here. Try out podcasting. Yeah, why not? I don't think it's difficult, to set up podcasting. Just spend some time, and yeah, you can find some audience there. Non-standard content distribution. I like the idea of educating your customers as opposite to drawing them in ads wherever they go. Creating valuable piece of content in one thing, but effective distribution is whole other story. Interesting. It means that you can use different social media, to distribute your content, or even forums or other places. It's better to have omni-channel, when you distribute many different ways, and you can analyze which way works for you. Make the most of integrations. Catch the moment to ask customers for a review. Yep, why not? Because if customers give feedback, it definitely helps to sell more your goods in the future. Involve others in your content marketing campaign early. Answer your audience's questions. Use a glossary for SEO. And think outside the box. Yeah, of course. If you have some brainstorming, just try to go with different way, don't even to find some crazy ideas. Sometimes these crazy ideas can be real and you can realize them. Think about alternative platforms for outreach. About Hero we read it. Track user behavior. How without user behavior you need to learn the audience and value beyond customer expectations. It's an interesting article. You can read this, and that's it for today. I think you enjoyed this video. I hope the next time I will record more interesting video about SEO that will help you to get organic traffic. And see you next time. Cheers!